yesterday. So yesterday we were discussing about after the completion of the discussion between Lord Vishnu and Prthu Maharaj, Lord departed, along with him all the devatas departed. Then Prthu Maharaj entered his capital, and all the citizens of the capital received him, offering gifts. He also reciprocated with them, offering wonderful gifts. And then in one verse, Maitreya tells that, and after taking care of the people very nicely, eventually Prthu Maharaj attained perfection. He went back to Godhead. Then Vidura stops. Please, can you tell in detail? Who does not want to hear about Prthu? Even today, the Devatas glorify Prthu because what he did is benefiting everyone for the rest of eternity. So who would not glorify him? Please speak about him in detail. Then it talks about, then Maitreya is talking now. Yesterday we only discussed about this one verse, that living in the land between Ganga and Yamuna rivers, Prthu experienced enjoyment thinking of it as his karma for exhausting the results of his pious activities. That Bhogena Punyam, Kushalena Papam. Though he is avatar of the Lord, but like an ordinary human being, one among all of us, he is thinking that let me enjoy my piety in the form of the prosperity. Let me also exhaust my impiety by undertaking some of the austerities. So like that, he thinks, but he is no need to think. So that is what is being mentioned yesterday. And yesterday we discussed that Prthu Maharaj, representing as a devotee in the mode of goodness, this chapter he will instruct in the same line, in the same thought. So whatever discussion we are going to have today, it's basically based on this verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, text number, chapter 29, text number 9. How a devotee in the mode of goodness behaves or executes bhakti. So he who worships me with a desire to destroy karma, karma nirharam uddishya, making his works and offerings to the Supreme Lord. Making his work and offering the Supreme Lord. Parasmim tadarpanam. Or, this is the first way the devotee in the mode of goodness will act. So he performs all the activities and offering to Supreme Lord so that he is not bound by the results. He is completely thoroughly purified. Or he executes the worship as a duty. That means he performs his varnashram duties and he executes his bhakti also as a matter of duty. Since he is a human being, Shastra talks about it, a human being is supposed to perform bhakti, he executes bhakti. But finally, with a desire for liberation, he executes bhakti. And that bhakti is called as Satvik Bhakti, Satviki. So now what Prthu Maharaj is going to instruct his citizens in this chapter is all based on these three lines only. We'll get to see all these things in this entire chapter and also next chapter also. Even the previous chapter which Lord Vishnu instructed Prthu Maharaj also kind of in the same line. So in that way. So today we'll be continuing from text number 12 onwards. सर्वत्रास्कलितादेश सप्तद्वीपैकदण्डदृक् अन्यत्र ब्राह्मणकुलात् अन्यत्राच्युतगोत्रता.
Maharaj Prthu was an unrivaled king and possessed the scepter for ruling all the 7 islands on the surface of the globe. No one could disobey his irrevocable orders, but the saintly persons and the Brahmanas and the descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaishnavas.
Yeah, this verse says that he was the ruler of the entire Bhumandala, consisting of 7 islands. Saptadvipa Ekadandadruk. He was actually the ruler of the entire Bhumandala, and everyone following his instructions, his orders, except the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Anyatra Brahmana Kulad, Anyatra Achyuta Gotrata. Because a Kshatriya can never exercise his power over the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. That is the general principle. So that's what is mentioned here, which Prthu also mentions later on in his discussion. And in the 5th canto also it is mentioned by Lord Rishabdev or Lord Rishabdev. Yes. So that is one of the important point. Achyuta Gotra means except for those in the Lord's family who are equal to the Lord. So when we say Gotra, we have particular Gotra means somehow, I mean, as you trace back, our entire family lineage has began with that particular Rishi. That's how the Gotra manifests. The Gotra is only connected with the great sages who are the different sons of Lord Brahma. They are called Prajapatis, and on their name, the Gotra will be there. But there will be no Gotra on the name of Achyuta, Lord Krishna. But still, sometimes some say that I am Achyuta Gotra, this, that. So that is for Lord's family members. That means those who accept Lord Krishna as their Lord and Master, friend and father. So for them, their Gotra becomes Achyuta Gotra. That means basically our body as a Gotra in relation to some of the Prajapatis. But when we realize we are not the body, we are Atma, and our Atma is stemming from Lord Achyuta, then our Gotra becomes Achyuta Gotra. So that's how we need to understand. It refers to the Vaishnavas. Achyuta Gotra refers to Vaishnavas who are without any Varna and without any Ashrama, who are beyond the designations of Varna and Ashrama. So they consider Krishna as their only master and Lord. So for such people, they can be called as belonging to Achyuta Gotra. Concerning scriptures, Prthu respected the Brahmanas because they were the acharyas for the Vedas. So in relation to the scriptural teachings, the Brahmanas are supposed to be given high regard because they are the teachers of the Vedic literatures. And Prthu also respected the Vaishnavas because they were the gurus for the various mantras used in worship. The Vaishnavas are those who teach how to practice bhakti. So in the 11th canto, in Uddhava Gita, while Lord Krishna talking about karma, jnana, and bhakti, he introduces bhakti as mantra worship. Worshipping the deity with mantra is the definition of bhakti. So that's how it is given in 11th canto. Even Vedas also describe bhakti as mantra worship. They don't call bhakti as bhakti. The Vedas generally say bhakti is mantra worship. So worshipping the deities with mantras is either called as bhakti or called as upasana. Worshipping any deity in that matter. Specific Lord Vishnu, but in general any deity. That is called mantra worship. So that's what is indicated here. So later on, Lord Rishabha says in the 5th canto that the king or guru desiring to attain my abode in order to obtain my mercy should teach his sons or the students without becoming angry. So for one's own benefit, one should teach others, one's followers and one's dependent without becoming angry. That will actually benefit one. Otherwise, oneself is put into problem. So in that way. So of course, there are a couple of points which Srila Prabhupada mentions in this purport. In order to connect to the immediate audience in this purport, the first 2-3 lines, if you see, Saptadvipa refers to the 7 great islands or continents on the surface of the Earth globe: Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, and Prabhupada writes Oceania. So it's like that. So basically, many times Prabhupada mentioned this. Wherever Saptadvipa comes in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada connects it to the 7 continents that are there on the surface of the earth in order to connect to the immediate audience. But it is not so. The Saptadvipas indicated here is pertaining to the entire Bhumandala. And our Earth globe is only a small portion of Bharatavarsha, which is a small portion of Jambudvipa, which is small, one of the 7 islands. Jambudvipa is one of the 7 islands. Out of the 7, Jambudvipa is one among them. So, but anyway, but in general understanding, just to connect with the people, Prabhupada states many times like this. Even many times Prabhupada also says that Bharatavarsha is India. So that also Prabhupada stated many places in the book, in his commentaries. So, but so it is like that. So Prabhupada actually talks about many things. Of course, this entire chapter is all about what are the duties of a king and what are the duties of the subject in relation to the king. So Prabhupada always compares with the modern times. How in the modern times, how these things are not so much happening. So that should how that should be taken care, etc. etc. Prthu Maharaj had no control over the Brahmana Kula, which refers to the transcendent learned scholars in Vedic knowledge, nor over the Vaishnavas who are above the considerations of Vedic knowledge. It is therefore said, Prabhupada says that, Arche Vishnu Shiladir Gurushu Naramatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. So, those who are really interested in advancing in one's spiritual progress, they should be careful of these 4 lines, which comes from Padma Purana. These are actually prohibitions. We should never ever make this mistake. That is actually detrimental to our spiritual progress only. It says that Arche Vishnu Shiladir, one who thinks the deity in the temple to be made of wood or stone. Arche Vishnu, Vishnu's Archa Vigraha, it is made up of Shiladir, considering it to be generally deities are either made up of metal or stone, or like Jagannathji is like wood. So one should not see like that. Or Gurushu Naramatir, treating Guru as one among the human beings is not at all good. Vaishnave Jati Buddhi, treating Vaishnavas as one Jati, like we have so many caste systems, treating Vaishnavas also part of the caste system is not at all good. It is actually detrimental to our spiritual progress. Vishnurna Vaishnavanam Kalimala Matane Pada Tirte Ambu Buddhi. It says that who thinks the Vaishnava in the Achyuta Gotra to belong to a certain caste or creed, or who thinks Charanamruta or Ganga water as ordinary water, is taken to be the resident of hell. Sri Vishnur Namani Mantre Sakala Kalushahe Shabda Samanya Buddhir. Those who consider the names of Lord Vishnu or the mantras indicating the names of Lord Vishnu, Sakala Kalushahe, which purify all the Kalusha, which purify all the Mala, Shabda Samanya Buddhir, those who consider it to be like ordinary sound vibration. Vishnu Sarveshware, Lord Vishnu is the Lord of everything that exists. Tat Tir Tad Itara Samadir, and treating the Sarveshwara Lord Vishnu as one among the many. Yaseva Narakisa, that person is supposed to be the resident of Naraka. That person is not fit to stay in anywhere in the 14 planetary systems. That person is supposed to be going to Narakaloka. So it's like that. So these are all like offenses. Offense against to deity, offense against the Vaishnavas, offense against the spiritual master, and offense against Vaishnava community, offense against Charanamrut, and offense against what we call Ganga. So Pada Tirthe, Ambu Buddhi, those who treat Ganga or Charanamrut as the normal water, and one who considers the holy names as ordinary sound vibration, and one who considers Lord Vishnu with the Lord of everything as the ordinary human being, these people are fit to stay in Naraka only. So it's like that. So these things one should be careful about, and one should be guarding oneself with all these things, knowingly or unknowingly. Then the last paragraph, Papa says that from the facts presented in the verse, in this verse, it appears that people in general should be controlled by a king until they come to the platform of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, who are not under the control of anyone. Brahmanas refer to one who knows Brahman. Brahma Janati iti Brahmana, who refers to Brahman or the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. And a Vaishnava is one who serves the supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. So it's like that. So So basically, whoever may be, a king cannot control the Brahmanas or Vaishnavas. There was a story comes in Mahabharata. So when there was the need to select who will be the Yuvraj, either Duryodhan or Yudhishthir. So in order to finalize who is qualified to be the next prince, they put a test. The test is that, so they call 4 people, one from Brahmana community, one from Kshatriya community, one from Vaishya community, one from Shudra community. And Vidura puts a claim that, see, these 4 people killed a person, and what kind of punishment should be offered to them? And Duryodhana says, I will tell, I will tell, I will tell. So they said, okay, tell. Then Duryodhana tells, 4 of them should be hanged until death. So then Bhishma and Vidura, Krupacharya, they put their head on the head, they put their hand on their head. What kind of judgment is giving? So then they waited for some time. Duryodhana said, yes, you immediately without fail should hang 4 of them to death, because they killed, they are supposed to be killed. They don't deserve to live. So like that, he again assured what he said. Then everyone looked at Yudhishthira Maharaj. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj told that the Brahmana supposed to be let free. He should not be given any punishment. Because Brahmana knows if he makes a mistake, he knows that if he does not go through the punishment right now, in the future, he will get punishment 10 times. That is Shastric injunction. If we don't accept the punishment immediately, in the future, we'll get it with compound interest. So the Brahmana will go through intense austerities and purification or atonement, whatever is needed immediately in order to get himself free from the reactions. He knew what to do, so he will do it. He is perfect. Of course, he never intentionally will kill somebody, but if at all something happens by mistake, he will do the needful. If it is required to die, he will die also. Brahmana is the nature of Brahmana is like is truthful to the promise that he will follow the scriptural dictates. So in that way. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj said that the Kshatriya should be invited for a battle. He should be invited for a fight, and in the fight he should be killed. He should be given royal death. So like that, because that is what he deserves. A Kshatriya deserves death in the battlefield. He cannot deserve death anywhere else. So that respect should be given to him. So it's like that. Even though he made a mistake, he should be given death penalty in the battlefield only. So it is like that. And the third, Vaishya. So for Vaishya, the wealth is more important than his own life. He does not mind even if life is taken away. But if his wealth is taken away, he feels that everything is gone away. So Yudhishthira said that his wealth should be taken out. So he will go through intense painful misery that is more than his death. So then for Shudra, since he has no intelligence, he does not understand what is what. He only knows the physical pain and physical pleasure. So he should be given physical punishment. Out of fear of physical punishment, he will not do such kind of things afterwards. So this is how Yudhishthira Maharaj tells. So punishment is also awarded according to a person's state of condition. It cannot be same for anyone and everyone. So it's like that. That's why the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are never supposed to be under the control of the king. They are supposed to be above. So in that way.
Nice story, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Ekadasin mahasatra diksha tatradivaukasam समाजो ब्रह्मर्षीणां च राजर्षीणां च सत्तमा.
Once upon a time, King Prthu initiated the performance of a very great sacrifice in which great saintly sages, brahmanas, demigods from higher planetary systems, and great saintly kings known as Rajarshis all assembled together.
Yeah, now the setting the scene. One time there was a great sacrificial performance at that place, the Devatas and an assembly of saintly Brahmanas, Brahmarshis, and the saintly kings. Rajarshis, all assembled. It is a general sacrifice, not a Ashwamedha sacrifice. So everyone is assembled, including the Devatas and others, other respected people. So tasmin arhasu sarveshu swa architeshu yatarhata uttita sadaso madhye taranam udurad iva.
In that grace assembly, Maharaj Prthu first of all worshipped all the respectable visitors according to their respective positions. After this, he stood up in the midst of the assembly, and it appeared that the full moon had arisen amongst the stars.
There, Prthu also came, and in the midst of everyone, Prthu stood up in the assembly of the great personalities, who are worthy of worship, who had been worshipped, befitting to their status, like the moon among the stars. Prthu arrived there and he worshipped everyone. Then he stood up in the midst of the great assembly, and then he looked as if the moon is situated in the midst of so many stars. Taranam udurad iva. So in that way. Nakshatranam aham shashi. Among all the nakshatras, I am the moon. King Prthu stood up to make some announcements among the worshipable sages. The sentence continues for 6 verses. So when Prthu Maharaj stood up among all, the analogy is given as if he is the moon among the stars. Why he is moon and how he is moon? His bodily description is given in the next verses. Since Prthu Maharaj is an expansion of Supreme Lord, so his beauty is described. Pramshu Pinayatabujo Gaura Kanjaru Nekshana Sunasa Sumuka Saumya Pinamsha Sudvijasmita.
King Pruthu's body was tall and sturdy, and his complexion was fair. His arms were full and broad, and his eyes as bright as the rising sun. His nose was straight, his face very beautiful, and his personality grave. His teeth were so beautifully in his smiling face.
Yeah. His bodily description is given. He was tall, with long, thick arms. Ajanu Lambita Bhujo, Kanakavadato. That comes in the Chaitanya Bhagavat about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So since he is also Vishnu Tattva, he was tall with long, thick arms, fair complexion, Gaura. He is in the color of Gaura. Fair complexion. He is not blue color. He is Gaura color. And red lotus eyes. Kanja Aruna Ikshana. His eyes are like Kanja Aruna. Early morning sun. Something like that. He had a graceful nose. Sunasa. A beautiful Sumukha. Cheerful face. Sumukha Saumya. Beautiful and cheerful face. Thick shoulders. Pina Amsha. And a smile with beautiful teeth. Su Dvija Smita. So when he was smiling, his teeth are slightly visible. So like that, it is indicated. And Prabhupada intentionally says that among the 4 Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, the Kshatriyas are more beautiful. So Brahmanas are into austerities. They don't care about their beauty. And Vaishyas are into business. They also don't care about their beauty. And Shudras are into different activities. And Kshatriyas, at least when they are in the palace, they decorate nicely. In the movies, in the dramas, we see that their decoration is actually very opulent. Just like the Devatas are decorated, the Kshatriyas are also decorated like that. Whether it is king or queen or whoever, they decorate very nicely. They look very beautiful in that sense. So Prabhupada says that. So then the next paragraph Prabhupada writes interesting point. As it is said, the face is the index of the mind. One's mental constitution is exhibited by the facial features. The bodily features of a particular person are exhibited in accordance with his past deeds. For according to one's past deeds, his next bodily features, whether in human society, animal society, or demigod society, are determined. This is proof of the transmigration of the soul through different types of the bodies. Since Maharaj Prthu's bodily features are so attractive, he cannot be no ordinary person. And in one of the previous purposes of the Prabhupada mentioned that somebody appears beautiful because of their past piety. So, in that way. Vyudavaksha Bruhachronir Vali Valgodalodara Avartanabir Ojasvi Kanchanorur Udagrapat.
The chest of Maharaj Prthu was very broad, his waist was very thick, and his abdomen, wrinkled by lines of skin, resembled in construction a leaf of a banyan tree. His navel was coiled up and deep, his thighs were of a golden hue, and his instep was arched.
He had a broad chest, large waist, an abdomen shaped like a banyan leaf with 3 lines, a twill navel, golden thighs, and feet raised in front. So in that way. He had a broad chest. He had a beautiful abdomen shaped like a banyan leaf with tip pointing down, broad at the top and narrow at the bottom, spread with 3 lines horizontally. Below that was his navel twinkling clockwise. He had limbs like the golden pillars, and his front parts of his feet were raised. So when he stood in the midst of everyone, what is his physical bodily appearance? So they are all being described here. And further goes Sukshma Vakrasita Snigda Mordaja Kumbha verse number 17. Mordaja Kumbha Kandara Mahadane Dukulagre Paridayopaviyacha.
The black slick hair on his head was very fine and curly, and his neck, like a conch shell, was decorated with auspicious lines. He wore a very valuable dhoti, and there was a nice wrapper on the upper part of his body.
He had fine, black, curly, glossy hair. See so many adjectives. Sukshma, Asita, Vakra, Snigdha, Murdaja. Murda means head. Murdaja means that is born out of the head. That is hair. What is the description of that hair? Snigdha. It is glossy. Snigdha means very soft, like honey. Especially when we are doing Abhishek, the honey flows very slowly. It is mandagati. It does not go fast. When you pour water, it goes very fast. But honey goes very slowly. So the hair also looks like the honey, the glossy appearance. And it is curly, vakra. There are so many curly hair. And asita means black. The hair fully black, no white hairs. And it is sukshma. It is very fine. The hair is not so thick. It is very thin hair. So these are all like his facial description. His neck was like a conch. Kambu, Kandara. Neck is like the conch. He was wearing a valuable cloth. Mahadana Dukula Agre on his lower and upper body. The dhoti and belt and upper garments, all those are made up of silk. They are actually Mahadana. So then Upaviya means he had an upper cloth. Paridaya and Upaviya. So Dukula Agre means dhoti. Dukula means dhoti. And Paridaya means there is a belt upon the dhoti. And Upaviya means Upavasra, that upper, what do you call this? Chadar. So the Brahmana initiated devotees, when they go for Abhishek, they put chadar over them. When they go to Garbhagruha, they cannot wear the kurta. They have to put chadar and then go. That is like Upaviya.
Uttariya
Upavastra.
they say, no?
It's called
Yeah,
Angavastram, we say.
Yeah. Angavasra, Uttariya,
Yeah.
Upavasra, chadar. So different names, same thing. So then further description are mentioned about his bodily limbs. It says that Venjita Shesha Gatra Srir Niyame Nastabhushana Krishna Jinadara Sriman Kushapane Krutochita Shishira Snigdata Raksha Samekshata Samantata Uchivan Idam Urvisha Sada Samharshayan Iva Charuchitrapadam Slakshnam Mrishtam Gudam Aviklavam Sarvesham Upakarartam Tada Anuvadan Iva.
As Maharaj
As
Prthu
Ma-
was being initiated to perform the sacrifice, he had to leave aside his valuable dress and therefore his natural bodily beauty was visible. It was very pleasing to him. Put on a black deer skin and wear a ring of kusha grass on his finger. For this, increase the natural beauty of his body. It appears that Maharaj Prthu observed all the regulative principles before he performed the sacrifice. Just to encourage the members of the assembly and to enhance their pleasure, King Prthu glanced over them with eyes that seemed like stars in a sky wet with dew. He then spoke to them in a great voice. Maharaj Prithu's speech was very beautiful, full of metaphorical language, clearly understandable and very pleasing to hear. His words were all grave and certain. It appears that when he spoke, he expressed his personal realization of the absolute truth in order to benefit all who were present.
Yeah. So Prabhupada said that Maharaj Prthu was beautiful in his external bodily features, and his speech was also very glorious in all respects. So till 19th, his beauty is described. In the 20th verse, his words, the beauty of his words is also described, because he's going to speak for long. The entire chapter is about his speech only. So in that way, showing unlimited beauty in his limbs, wearing ornaments expertly placed, wearing a black deer skin, and shining with kusha on his finger when required, the ruler of the earth, who had charming pupils in his eyes, as cooling as dew, glanced around. Basically, his eyes are so compassionate when he's looking all around. He is actually having compassion on everyone who is assembled in that sacrifice. Giving joy to the assembly, he resonantly spoke. Tada anuvadan uchivan. Resonance. In the school days, not school, in the college we studied, school only we studied. Anunadam. Sorry. Resonance. There is an instrument, when you hit on the instrument, it produces sound waves, which happens for a long time. And in the school, we were told that when the army train is, the military or police, when they go on left, right, when they are walking on the road, they do it. But on the bridge, they should not do it. If they do it, the bridge will collapse. So it's like that. So his speech is like reverberating the entire area. So in that way, it is producing a kind of special and music and all. So he resonantly spoke attractive, delightful words. Charu Chitrapadam. Chitrapadam means delightful words. Charu is attractive, which were ornamented with beautiful syllables. Mrishtam Slakshanam. He chose words very carefully. He did not speak just like that. Faultless, aviklavam, without any mistake. Full of allusions, gudam. They are talking about the important secrets of the Vedic literature, full of allusions, and which were very easy to understand for the benefit of all present. Sarvesham Upakarartham. He did not speak just for time pass. He spoke for the benefit of one and all who are there in the assembly. So these are the various attributes about his speech. And now, starting from 21 all the way up to 44 or something, 44 or 46, he speaks various aspects of what is to be done as a king and as a citizen. What is the responsibility of the citizen? What is the responsibility of the king? All these things he actually very nicely presents. Any questions till now?
No, Prabhuji,
No
thank you.
problem.
Thank you.
Not on the subject, but Prabhuji, you had initially started saying something like Bhogena Papam or Punyam.
Bhogena punyam kushalena papam.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
The prosperity comes as a result of our piety. The difficulties will come as a result of our sin. So one need to experience both, by which one can exhaust one's piety and impiety, so that one can become free of one's karmas. So that is understanding.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sabya shrunuta badram va sadavo yaiha agata sastu jihanusubir dharmam sastu jignasubir dharmam avedhyam swamanishitam manishitam.
King Prthu said, O gentle members of the assembly, may all good fortune be upon you. May all of you great souls who have come to attend this meeting kindly hear my prayer attentively. A person who is actually inquisitive must present his decision before an assembly of noble souls.
Yeah. He says that, O Sabya, O Sadasya, O assembly, devotees who have gathered here, Sadavo ya iha agata. O assembly of great devotees who all assembled here, good fortune unto you, Bhadramva. Let there be good fortune unto all your endeavors. Please listen, Shrunta. In the presence of devotees, those who are inquisitive for truth should announce the principles which they have carefully considered. So Prthu Maharaj is presenting his understanding of Dharma in front of the great assembly. In that great assembly, there are some Devatas, some Pitrus, some great Rajarshis and Brahmarshis and Brahmanas, and also the common citizens. Among them, specifically, is addressing the sadhus, the great devotees, great learned personalities, because they should take the position of evaluator. They should evaluate his speech, and he also talking for the benefit of people in general. So before addressing anyone, he is requesting all the great devotees take the position of the evaluator. If there is any correction needed, they can do the needful in that way. Because when there is a great assembly of the great personalities, they always come to Jigna Shubhi. They always come together in order to increase their understanding about absolute truth. That should be the principal purpose. So Jigna Shubhi Dharmam Avedayan Swa Manishitam. So Manishitam means the EU endowed with intelligence. So when people come together, they have a discussion about increasing their understanding of absolute truth. So that's how, since all of you have assembled here, and the purpose of great assembly is to increase our understanding of the Dharma and absolute truth, I want to make some announcements for the benefit of common people. Since all of you great souls are there, kindly patiently evaluate my speech, and if there are any corrections, please do the needful. With that effect, he is addressing the great devotees assembled there. So in that way, the king addresses the devotees. My object is not the others who have gathered here, I cannot give instructions or orders to you since I am the king, but rather I should ask you for instructions and orders. Though everyone is in the assembly, I cannot give you instructions. So I request all of you to be my evaluator. My speech is for correcting my understanding of Dharma, at the same time benefiting the innocent. So with that mode, he is actually talking. Since there is a devotee association here, the inquisitive should reveal topics of Dharma, Guhyamakyati Pruchati, after considering them carefully, since they cannot come to a conclusion by themselves. On our own, we cannot come to proper conclusion. So whatever is our conclusion, we should present in front of the great devotees. They will evaluate and correct it so that we will be benefited and others who are in the assembly also can get benefit. So that is the general understanding of a assembly. So with this request, now our Prthu Maharaj will continue to speak. That is basically expressing his own understanding of execution of Dharma, and he also had some requests for the people in his kingdom, the citizens of his kingdom. So in that way. So now he continues that I am the king of this entire place. I have many responsibilities as a king towards the countrymen and the entire Bhumandala. So that he states, Aham dandadaro raja prajanam iha yojita rakshita vrittida sveshu setushu stapita prutak.
King Prthu continued, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, I have been appointed the king of this planet, and I carry the scepter to rule the citizens, protect them from all dangers, and give them employment according to their respective positions in the social order established by Vedic injunction.
Yeah, this verse talks about all different duties of a king. What are the different responsibilities of a king towards his kingdom? Prthu Maharaj says that I have been engaged by the Lord. I have not become king on my own. Lord engaged me. Aham yojita. I have been engaged by the Lord as the punisher of the citizens. Prajanam dandadaro raja. I have been engaged by the Lord as the Raja for the purpose of the punishment of the for the purpose of correcting the citizens who do not follow Varnashrama Dharma. Not just punishing those who don't follow Varnashrama Dharma in order to help them follow Varnashrama Dharma. And as the protector of the citizens, Rakshita, my another duty is to protect the innocent. What was that Bhagavad Gita verse? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkutam. That is the duty of a king. As the giver of occupations, Sveshu Vrittida. This was one of the requests of the citizens also in the beginning when he became king. As soon as he became king, next day morning only the citizens came and said, we don't have food, we are dying. Please give us food first and then give us the occupation so that we can sustain ourselves. So it is king's duty to make sure that all the citizens are employed properly according to their liking. And the establisher of the rules of Varnashrama. Prutak Setushu Stapita. Kindly note down the main word Setu. Setu means it is a bridge which takes one from the material world to the spiritual world. Setu is the bridge which takes the living entities from the material world to spiritual world. That is providing the citizens proper facilities so that they can practice Varnashrama Dharma, and then with the help of Varnashrama Dharma they can practice Bhakti properly and then come back to Godhead. So it's the king's duty to establish the rules of Varnashrama. In the book, what was that? Bhagavata-dharma seeker journey. So that every canto has presents one theme. So canto 7 talks about the duties and responsibilities of 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. That is mentioned. And Canto 8 talks about the Varnashram system, which is meant to protect this Varnashram system. If Varnashram system is not protected, how can one practice Varnashram Dharma and practice Bhakti and then go back to Godhead? In order to practice Bhakti, one need to have the support of Varnashram Dharma. So that Varnashram Dharma is supposed to be protected. And Lord established a system of 6 people. Those 6 people will protect the Varnashram Dharma. The first one is Indra. From Sargaloka, he is the first person who is responsible to look after the maintenance of Varnashram Dharma in the 3 planetary systems, Bhuloka, Borloka, Sargaloka. And he is assisted by the Devatas. And in the Bhuloka, it is the responsibility of the Manu. The Manu is the first king. He will establish proper religious government, which will make sure that protection of Varnashram is taken care. And he rules for some time. After him, his children, the Manuputras, one after the other. It is their responsibility to maintain the Varnashram Dharma so that people will live religiously and practice Bhakti and go back to Godhead. So Indra, Devatas, and the Manu and the Manuputras. For the Manu and Manuputras to properly execute the Varnashram duties, they need to have all the natural facilities, such as rain, wind, sunlight. All these things are provided by Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu. And in turn, they perform yajna, the Devatas are nourished. Like the mutual cooperation, they help each other to maintain Varnashram Dharma. And then Sapta Rishis, even though they are mutually cooperating with each other, they are trying to maintain. In between, there are some elements which try to destroy the system, which actually create apasampadayas here and there, etc. So time and again, the Saptarishis keep coming down. They go to Indra also. They instruct Indra as well as they come to the king. They instruct king also. What is actually the real form of dharma? How to execute that? How to protect it? The king is enlightened by the Saptarishi, the great sages, and he will implement the teachings of the great sages. That's how he protects. And ultimately, when all these 5 people fail, when personalities like Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu come, even Indra cannot stand in front of him. Then Lord himself appears as Manvantara Avatara. Then he corrects the matter. He re-establishes the principles of Dharma in the proper order. So these 6 people are responsible for maintaining Varnashrama Dharma. Only when there is proper Varnashrama Dharma, by taking the help of Varnashrama Dharma, one can practice either Jnana or Bhakti and can go back to Godhead. So that is the system which is there in the Vedic culture. So it's like that. So here king is telling about the same thing only. So I am responsible to maintain Varnashrama Dharma. So I have basically said that I have so many responsibilities. All these responsibilities are there for the king. King is not just a person who enjoys the opulences, who enjoys the respect, adoration, and reception. All is not like that. He has many great responsibilities on his head. So in that way, he says. On the other hand, anyone who want to become leader, they should embody all these. They should understand all these responsibilities are there. They should fulfill all these criteria. Then they can be a proper leader. So that is also another instruction to people now. One should not say we should worship the king. So Prthu himself is saying that no one should say that we should worship the king because king is the representative of Supreme Lord. So then rather, I have merely been appointed by the Supreme Lord as the object of worship to engage you in your occupations. The Shastra tells the king is as good as the God. He should be worshipped and respected as good as the God. That is only to make sure that you people will follow his instructions. Out of fear of the king's position, people will follow his instruction. That was the intention. But otherwise, I don't deserve that kind of respect. That is only to engage you in your occupations. I do these activities because I am engaged by the Supreme Lord. I don't do all these things on my own because the Lord said so through the scriptures. I am doing it. I hold the stick, which is like the medicine for curing the sickness of sinful actions. Dandadaro. I hold the stick of punishment so that the sickness can be cured. The sickness of doing sinful activities can be cured. So in that way, out of fear of punishment, people stop performing sinful activities in that way. I am employed by the Lord for protecting the citizens from thieves. Paritranaya sadhunam. I am employed by the Lord to punish the thieves and protect the innocent from the thieves. I am engaged by the Lord to give occupations to the citizens. Urti. Urtida. I need to provide employment for all the citizens so that they can live peacefully without quarreling with each other. If they don't have enough amount of engagement, the next thing what they do is, sorry? I don't mind not mischief, they create chaos in the society. So in that way, I am engaged by the Lord to establish respect for the rules of Varnashrama Dharma. Setushu Stapita. I am here to establish the Setu, the bridge that takes one back to Godhead. Make sure that bridge is still intact. I should repair whenever there is a problem. I should repair it. I should maintain it. I should paint, color, all these things. I am carrying on my head the weight of many types of services onto you. I am not king, just in name, not like that. I have a lot of responsibilities given by the Lord. I am doing all these things towards all of you since Lord told me to do all these things. Because Prthu Maharaj appeared as a Avesha avatar of Palana Shakti. He has to set an ideal example of Palana, how to rule. What is the meaning of ideal rule that he has to set up? So all these things constitute the ideal rule of a ideal king. So in that way. Tasyametat anushtanat yan ahor brahmagadina lokasyu kama samdoha yasya tushyati tishtadruk.
Maharaj Prthu said, I think that upon the execution of my duties as king, I shall be able to achieve the desirable objectives described by experts in Vedic knowledge. This destination is certainly achieved by the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the seer of all destiny.
So he says that since Lord had given all these instructions for a king through the medium of Shastra, I am following them. If I follow, Lord becomes happy. If Lord becomes happy, Lord will take me back to Godhead. I will get my desired benefit. That is my desire, and I will get that benefit when I do all duties according to the instructions of the Vedic literatures, which are the word of the Supreme Lord. So in that way, he's saying, from executing all my duties, all the places which the followers of the Vedas describe. So wherever I go, the Brahmanas who study and teach the Vedas, they talk about the same things. This, you are a king, these are your duties. You are a king, these are your duties. So since every Brahmana, every teacher is talking about them, I am executing all my duties without fail because they fulfill my desires. What is my desire? They fulfill my desires that will be mine since I will please the Lord. So my desire is to follow the instructions of the Lord. So by following the instructions, I will fulfill my desires and with which I will please the Lord also. My desire is to please the Lord and also do my duties. Both will happen by following all these instructions which are spoken by all the teachers of the Vedas everywhere. So like that. He says that I receive my monthly, seasonal and yearly wage from the Lord. When I do my duties every day without fail, I receive the salary from the Lord. What is the salary? Lord's pleasure. What the followers of the Vedas claim as the words to be attained by performance of my duties will be mine as well. First thing I get Lord's pleasure. Second thing I get the remuneration for all the activity that I do. Because I am doing so many duties as a king, I will get the remuneration. These are the places I attain in my next life, according to my desire, and which are the fulfillment of my desires when the Lord is satisfied with me. Here one thing is mentioned which is not clearly indicated. So he says that these are the places I attain in my next life. What are the places? He did not say explicitly. According to my desire, that is, as per my desire, I attain the respective destination, which are fulfilled by my fulfillment of my desires when the Lord is satisfied with me. When the Lord is satisfied with my all my activities, I will attain my desired place. He did not tell what is that, but he will tell that he will tell later on. So what was that which Lord instructed in the previous chapter? At the beginning of the previous chapter, Lord Vishnu told that Shreya Praja Palanam Eva Rajno Yat Samparaye Sukruta Sastam Amsham Agrita Punya Prajanam Arakshita Karohara Agam Apti. So this verse and the next verse, Lord says that if you perform your duties properly, it is most beneficial for the king to protect the population because he enjoys 1/6 of the pious activities of the citizens in the next life. The king will enjoy the 1/6 of the pious activities that are performed by all the citizens in his next life. Otherwise, not protecting the citizens, they take his pious acts and he suffers their sin. If king does not do his duties, his piety will be taken by the citizens and citizens' sin will be given to the king. So king will only have to experience sinful reactions. So this is kind of his wage. If I perform my duties properly and making sure that all of you are given what is required, that Varnashrama-dharma, duties and everything, then I will experience 1/6 of the piety that all of you do. That is the result of king performing his duties properly. Karma nirhara muddishya parasminva yadarpanam. Performing all one's varnashrama duties as an offering to Supreme Lord for the purpose of purifying one's karmas. This is the instruction in relation to that. So in that way. And the next verse which Lord Vishnu spoke that if you do that, you will come back to me. That he did not stating explicitly. Because here he is giving the instruction in relation to the people in general. If they execute their duties properly, king will get 1/6. If they don't do properly, king will not get. And king is saying that I am doing my duties properly. I expect all of you to do your duties properly. If not for your sake, for my sake, you do it at least. For my spiritual benefit, all of you do your duties properly. It is like putting in an humble way. Instead of saying that if you do all your duties properly, you will be benefited. He is telling that if you do all your duties properly, I will be benefited. If at all you have any affection for me, please do your duties properly. So that I will get 1/6 of your piety in the next life. That will give me my destiny properly. So he is kind of requesting the citizens instead of commanding them, he is requesting them. So this is the humility, humble nature of Prthu Maharaj. So in that way.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, this is just inquiry like, means suppose that all the citizens are staying very nicely, like how we talk about Rama Rajya, and then the 1/6 of the piety of the citizens will be given to the king. So means all the citizens will have the 5/6 of the piety, whatever they pious deeds they do. Is it like that, or it is even they will
See,
have their full quota and the king will have?
1/6 of the piety of all the citizens will come to the king. and 1/6 of the piety of the king also will come to the citizens. It is reciprocal.
Okay.
Whatever
Because
good king does, 1/6 of that will come to the citizens. Whatever good the citizens does, 1/6 of that will come to the king. Even the same thing is applicable for the bad also. That's why the king performs elaborate sacrifice. King is the Yajaman, but the benefit is given to the entire citizens also, all the citizens also, because they all get 1/6 of the benefit of that.
yeah. Actually, I think that is why Anna, that Brahmana in the Dwarka whose sons were dying, he used to go to the door of the main like Dwarka palace, and he used to say that because the king is not pious, that is why my children are dying, like that something.
Yes, yes. The kingdom
So,
used to be like that.
so is it Prabhuji, like also it is said, na, means in general, I have not read in the scriptures, but general it is said that whatever the husband does, the half of that piety comes to the wife. So it is also reciprocal the way you said, from citizen to king and king to citizens, or how it is?
Yeah, it is both way. That's why wife is called Ardhangi. In the execution of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, the wife and husband share 50% of each. Both should
So,
cooperate each with each other and they execute Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha so that they get the benefit equally.
okay, so whatever
There
wife
are so
does,
there
that
are
also.
yes, it is mutual reciprocal, na?
Okay, no, because generally it is heard always that whatever husband does, because the women are having less time, and they are engaged all the time in household duties. So, but they need not worry because half of the piety of the husband comes to wives. That is why I
Yeah,
was
yes,
asking.
that is true. That is true. Even in many times we discussed that in Vedic culture, only the boys used to go to Gurukul to study Vedic literature. After coming back, they they employ their family members in all the Vedic rituals and Vedic duties. And it is they are supposed to go through severe austerities and etc. And our family members, all the ladies, supposed to assist them even though they don't know many things, but they have to just follow and assist. So in that way, both will get the benefit equally. So that is the Vedic culture.
Thank you.
So it's like that. या उद्धरेत् करं राजा प्रजा धर्मेषु अशिक्षयन् प्रजानां समलं भुङ्क्ते भगं च स्वं जहाति सा.
Any
Any
king who
king,
does not teach. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
any king who does not teach his citizens about their respective duties in terms of varna and ashrama, but who simply extract tolls and taxes from them, is liable to suffer for the impious activities which have been performed by the citizens. In addition to such degradation, the king also loses his own fortune.
Yeah, here other duties of the king are also indicated. The king who levies taxes without teaching the citizens about the principles of dharma suffers the sins of the citizens and loses his own good fortune. The system is like this. The great sages, the teachers of the Shastras, they come to the king. They teach the king in the royal assembly. And it is the king's responsibility to, to transmit that knowledge which they received from the great sages into each one in the kingdom. They should make sure that everyone will get the same teachings and they will follow. When the sages are speaking to the king, they are not speaking to the king, they are speaking to the entire kingdom. And king is the representative of the entire kingdom. So it is like that. Whatever they receive from the great sages, they should make sure that people in general, according to the king, it is king's intelligence that at what level people are there, accordingly, you should employ them engage in that particular activities. So in that way. So that is the duty of the king. The king who levies taxes without teaching the citizens about the principles of dharma suffer the sin of citizens and loses his own good fortune. Because the king is taking the taxes from the people, the money carries the karma of the people also. Because the money is the result of one's karma, whether it is money or grain, food grains or whatever is acted in the form of tax, that is actually the result of one's hard labor. If the hard labor is pious, the ingredients will carry piety. If that labor is impious, the ingredients will carry impiety. So when we receive some money also, if the money is earned through honest means, that will carry the honesty. If the money is earned by dishonest means, the money will carry the dishonesty. The recipient will be affected by that. So it's like that. And loses his own good fortune. So in that way. He says that it is the king's duty is not just to levy taxes, but make sure that people are given proper facilities to follow Varnashram-dharma. So in that way. However, among my duties, the chief and constant one is to institute dharma. The most important duty of the king is, what are the verse Bhagavad Gita? Yada yada dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyudhanam-adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. The king's main duty is to dharma samsthapana. To make sure that whenever dharma declines, he has to make sure that dharma is intact. Varnashram dharma. Without doing that, I meet with misfortune. Bhagam means wealth and power, whatever. Misfortune that in the form of wealth and power, etc. So this is the principal duty of the king. In order to do the duty, one may need some financial support. For that, the king collects taxes from people in general. So it is like that. So he's talking about what are the duties of a king, how they will be executed. So now king says that because these are all my duties, I need to do all these things. I request all of you to cooperate with me. Tat praja bhatru pindartam swartam eva nasuyava kuruta doksha jadiyas tarhi me anugraha krita.
Prthu Maharaj continued. Therefore, my dear citizens, for the welfare of your king after his death, you should execute your duties properly in terms of your positions of Varna and Ashrama, and should always think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within your hearts. By doing so, you will protect your own interests and you will bestow mercy upon your king for his welfare after death.
Yeah, this is the request. Because Lord Vishnu mentioned that, O king, if you do your duties, you will get the result of 1/6 of piety of all the people in your next life. So keeping that in mind, he's telling that, O citizens, therefore, kindly perform your duties without envy. Anasuyava. Don't be in envy that other people are better duties, I don't have better duties. Not like that. Execute your respective duties without with envious mentality. For the welfare of me. King is not telling that for your benefit. King is telling that for my benefit, kindly do your duties. Because all of you accepted me as your protector. If you do your duties properly, after death, I will get the results of your duties. O thinkers of the Lord, Adokshadya, by that you will show me mercy. By executing your duties properly, all of you will show mercy upon me. Tarhi me anugraha krita. Please think about which king will ask people like this. Yeah, something like that. So no king will ever ask like the king generally comments, hey, do it. He will never request like this. But Prthu Maharaj is going to the extent that, so because this is the way to engage the innocent. Because everyone had special affection for the king. So he is using that affection in order to engage them in their respective duties. If at all You all of you have accepted me as your king. If at all you have any affection for me, kindly do your duties properly so that I will be benefited for my seva towards all of you. So something like that. Therefore, O citizens, like offerings after death for the person's welfare, you should do your duties for my benefit after death. Today is Pitru Amasya. So all over India, everyone in their respective family, they offer Shraddha for the deceased parents or ancestors in their respective families. Because in the interest of the benefit to the deceased people, they are performing the Shraddha rites. Just like one performs Shraddha rites for the deceased people, same way you perform your duties in order to benefit me after my death. Like that, Prthu Maharaj is requesting them. If you do your duties, I will become successful. If you perform your duties, my life will become successful. So this is how Prthu Maharaj is inspiring the citizens in order to do their respective duties. Let me not have rebirth in this world. What do you mean by success? Let me not have rebirth in this world. He describes the individual duty. Then he describes what are the duty they are supposed to do. O person who place their intelligence in the Lord, worship the Lord. What kind of duty they should do? Please worship the Lord. All of you are wonderful devotees. Adokshadya, you engaged your intelligence in the Supreme Lord. Kindly perform bhakti. If you all perform bhakti, I will get 1/6 of benefit of all of you, and then I will not take birth again. So in that way. This is confirmed by the Gita statement. Mayeva mana adasva mayi buddhin niveshaya. Next kya? Next line kya? For everything Mame Veshati. Wherever is said in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Veshasi only.
Nivasishyasi mayeva urdhvam na samshaya.
Nivashishyasi mayeva. You will reside along with me in my spiritual abode without doubt. Kindly do not have any doubt. Therefore, offer your mind and intelligence unto me. This is the 12th chapter. So fix your mind in me and place your intelligence in me. As a result of that, you will reside with me in my spiritual abode without doubt. So in that way. Loud.
So just as you said that the king receives 1/6, if we do king does bhakti, so he gets 100% benefit, or is that also distributed? Is it vice versa?
Because he is king, it will be distributed to all.
Is bhakti also? It is not personal.
Bhakti is personal also, it is distributed to all also.
So if the praja is doing bhakti, he will also get the benefit.
Yes.
If we are doing bhakti, my family also gets the benefit.
Because the relationship is surrendered and subordinate. The master and subordinate. Even Prabhupada writes, we discussed previously when Dhruva Maharaj was going in the airplane, he looked at Nanda Sunanda, just remembered his mother. He told Nanda Sunanda, my dear sirs, I don't want to come, leaving behind my mother. It is only by the grace of my mother I have obtained whatever obtained today. How can I leave behind my mother and come? Then they say that don't worry, your mother is going ahead of you only. They showed another airplane. Forget about from our point of view. Just think about from Dhruva Maharaj's point of view. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that if at all any of my followers becomes a great devotee, I will also go back home back to Godhead. You will speak loudly.
Suppose in a family there is one devotee and others do not believe in Krishna consciousness. What happens?
That is a different case. They will get benefit in a small way. They will not go back to Godhead. These people are also supposed to be devotees. But when both of them are helping each other, like a master and subordinate, so subordinates endeavors, results will be shared with the master, master's endeavors will be shared with the subordinates. So it is like that. Just like we discussed about wife and husband, the wife is subordinate, husband is the master. So it is shared between them. So like that. It is there. That's why we say na, many times, whenever a spiritual master or Maharaj or any other Maharaj, when they give initiation, they fall sick immediately. 1/6 of the bad karma of the disciples, because they accepted the masterhood. And 1/6 of the prior spirits of the spiritual master will come to the disciple. It is a system made up of by the creator. What can be done?
There is a connection between them. There is the precedence.
Yeah.
There is no connection. There is no.
So it's like that. So this is confirmed by the Gita statement. Adokshata Diya indicate that all of you are already offered your intelligence unto Supreme Lord. Please take it seriously and practice bhakti. If all of you practice bhakti properly, I will get the benefit of all of your bhakti and I will go back to Godhead. Here Prthu is saying that I am not a devotee. Out of humility saying that I am not a devotee. I don't have any hope. So all of you are great devotees. This is my humble request that if all of you practice bhakti properly, I will get the benefit by your bhakti. So in that way he is asking. Because Lord said so. Just by accepting the role of a king, all of you can give me benefit. I will be benefited by all of your devotional service. So this is how the king requesting. Of course, out of humility stating all these things, but it is the king's duty to make sure that people practice bhakti. If he gives orders, they may take, they may not take. But he is requesting them in such a way that they will practice. So that's how he is intelligently speaking. Charu Chitrapadam. This is Charu Chitrapadam. He speaks in such a way that no one can say no to it. When he speaks like this, who will say no to it? Hare King itna bol rahe, tum thoda karenge. So something like that. Hare Krishna, devotees are able to follow?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So Prabhupada quotes Et Karoshi Edashnasi verse from Bhagavad Gita. Like whatever we do should be done as an offering to Supreme Lord. So when it is done, oneself is benefited and also the master is also benefited. So in that way. Yuyam tad anumodadvam Petru Devarshayo Mala Kartu Shastur Anugnatus Tulyam Yat Pretya Tat Phalam.
I request
Yeah.
all the pure-hearted demigods, forefathers, and saintly persons to support my proposal. For after death, the result of an action is equally shared by its order, its director, and its supporter.
So here is the proof. Who all will get the benefit? So I request you, pure devatas, pitrus, and the great sages, Amala Pitru Deva Rushayo, whom he accepted as the evaluators. So now King is saying that I request all of you to approve whatever I'm saying. He is requesting them to approve. Whatever I'm saying is correct or not, kindly approve of it. If there is some correction needed, you please do it. For after death, the result is equally shared by the performer. The citizens are the performers. The person who gives him the order, the king who is requesting them to perform bhakti, and the one who approves of it, the devatas, pitrus, and the great sages. Three of them will get the benefit. So duties give their full effect if approved by all. Equal result is shared in the next life by the person who teaches the duty, the performer of the duty, and those who approve of the duty. So this is the reason in every Vedic ceremony, in every Vedic samskara, all the elderly people are invited in order to receive their approval as well as their blessing. Approval by the elderly people and their blessings are very much important in the execution of any activity. So that will benefit them also. That will benefit the performer also. That will benefit the requester also. Everyone gets benefit in that particular act. So it is a principle applicable everywhere in that sense. Even when it is done some bad thing also, the approver, the instructor, and the performer all will get the result. This we hear now in the beginning days. If somebody eats meat, the six kinds of people will get the sin. Not only the eater, everyone who are associated with that. Same thing, we can see the same principle here. अस्ति यज्ञपतेर्नाम केषाञ्चिद् अर्हसत्तमा इहामुत्र च लक्ष्यन्ते ज्योत्स्नावत्या क्वचिद्भुवा.
My dear respectable ladies and gentlemen, according to the authoritative statements of Shastra, there must be a supreme authority who is able to award the respective benefits of our present activities. Otherwise, why should there be persons who are unusually beautiful and powerful in both in this life and in life after death?
So in the previous line, text, he said that I request you, pure devatas, pitrus, and great sages, to approve about this. For after death, the result is equally shared by the performer, the person who gives him the order, and the one who approves of it. Now there may be a question: who knows? The results will be given to all in the future life. Who knows that the next birth is there? That kind of question might be asked. And what is the benefit? The benefit is I will not take birth. Then where will you go? I'll go to spiritual world. Who knows there is spiritual world? Who knows there is Supreme Lord? That kind of questions might come. So in order to remove such kind of questions, Prthu Maharaj establishes what will happen. Whether really does the God exist? Does the next birth exist? Does one really go to spiritual world? Such kind of things he will answer in the next shlokas. But in the previous part, Prabhupada talks about in terms of Krishna consciousness. Those people who actually spread Krishna consciousness, those who engage others in spreading Krishna consciousness, and those who facilitate spreading of Krishna consciousness, all these three category of people will get the benefit of Krishna consciousness. So in that way. So that Prabhupada said, therefore everyone, somehow or other, should be connected to the spreading of Krishna consciousness. So in that way. So now in the current verse, he says that, O most respectable persons, according to some authorities, Ke Shanchit, Kaschid, basically Kaschid means some people say the Supreme Lord, the master of the sacrifice, Yajnapati, exists. Asti Yajnapati Nama. Some teachers, they say that the Supreme Lord is called as Yajnapati. He does exist. Astitva. Such kind of people called as Astika. This can be observed by the presence of the beautiful bodies in this life and the next life in some place. How can you say that the Lord does exist? Prthu Maharaj said that, yes, we can show a pratyaksha praman. Among all these people, some people are beautiful, either physically or intellectually or economically or whatever. In on one of the six bhagas, Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Sriya, Jnana, Vairagyoscha, Samnamaga, Idingana. Any one of the opulences that the person becomes beautiful. So somebody having one of the six opulences abundantly is the sign of Lord's existence. If Lord does not exist, then people cannot become beautiful or endowed with one of the six opulences. That is only possible by Lord, presence of the Lord. So that is presented in this. He is kind of establishing the existence of the Supreme Lord. You desire to institute the worship of the Lord? How is that possible? For your father Vena accept the teachings of Kaivalya. Somebody might question. So my dear Prthu, you are requesting all of us to worship the Lord? But your father said, I am the Lord. Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva and Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, all devatas do exist in me. You don't have to worship Vishnu. You worship me only. That's how he told all the Brahmanas. He does not allow anyone to study Vedas, anyone to worship the devatas and Lord Vishnu by performance of yajnas and other things. He told everyone should worship him. So he said he is all in all. And you are telling us to worship Vishnu. What is this? You are teaching a contrary philosophy against your father. Somebody might question like that. So for which, anticipating that question, Prthu Maharaj is speaking this verse. O most respectable persons, with an opposite intention, he says, some persons are of the opinion that the Supreme Lord called the Lord of Sacrifice exists. Though my father had told there is no separate existence of the Lord. The Lord, Indra, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva and Indra, Chandra, Varun, they all exist in the body of king only. King only should be worshipped. But some other people who are the followers of the Vedas, they say that the Lord known as Yajnapati does exist. King Vena might say like this, but other people also say like this. To those who oppose the statements of other teachers of the Vedas, he says that do not doubt that this is true. Don't have any doubt about this. It is proved by the fact that without the Lord, there could be no variety in the universe. My dear citizens, don't have any doubt on the statement of these great sages, because they are telling that Lord exists and he has the name called Yajnapati. What is the proof? The proof is the variety in the world, in the observable world. The variety comes due to Supreme Lord only. In this life, by sense perception, and in the next life, by the statement of the scriptures, we know there are very beautiful bodies in certain places. And to the other extreme, we know that there are very ugly bodies as well. Some people are born with opulences, one of the 6 opulences. Some people are born bereft of any of the 6 opulences, beautiful and ugly. All these are indicative of existence of Supreme Lord, Yajnapati, the ultimate sanctioner of everything that is happening. Because variety is there in the form of opulent and miserable existences, that means there is Yajnapati, there is a Lord. People get various degrees of beauty through past actions and lack of those results by lack of past actions. Bhuva means places of enjoyment and bodies. So basically, somebody might say that okay, people get good bodies by piety, bad bodies by impiety. So what is the problem? Actions alone being material and unconscious. Karma alone does not determine one's destiny. Karma alone cannot give these different results. One may say the piety will lead to beautiful bodies, impiety will lead to ugly bodies. So where is the question of the Lord? One may say like that. But karma alone cannot do all these things because karma is material and unconscious. It alone cannot give all these results. Only a conscious being can make sure the attainment of the respective results. The devatas who appeared recently are not independent, since this is stated in the Antaryami Shruti. The devatas are not the final cause of differences. Because every Manvantara, the Devatas are changing. The Jiva might stay in this material world more than a Manvantara period. We don't know when we came here, how long we are living in this world. How many Manvantaras are passed, how many days of Brahma are passed, how many life of Brahma are passed, we don't know. But Devatas are changing. We are still continuing here only. So how can the one Devata can be determined to give us all our subsequent results? It's not. So in that way. So karma itself is not the cause. The Devatas are not the final cause. Then who is the final cause? If the action is the same, we do not see difference in results, and we never see lack of results. If everyone is performing same activity, if action only the final authority, everyone should get the same result. Why the result is different? And sometimes we never see lack of results. The results are always coming. Thus, one should conclude that the variety is possible only because of the Supreme Lord, who has the ability to do, not do, or do differently. The definition of Supreme Lord is Kartum, Akartum, and Anyata Kartum. Kartum means he has the ability to do something, and he can undo or not do also. Akartum and Anyata Kartum, he can do something differently also. This is the ability of the Supreme Lord. This particular ability is not available to karma, not available to Devatas. So that's how it is mentioned. When there is difference in the worship of the Lord, there is also difference in results. And when there is no worship of the Lord, there is no result. So this explanation is given in terms of the Chatushlokya Bhagavatam. Out of the 4 slokas, the 4th sloka talks about the comparative study between karma, jnana, yoga, and bhakti. When you do bhakti, you get the results. When you don't do bhakti, you don't get the results. When one does karma alone, one may get, one may not get the results. Karma alone does not provide the results. When karma is coupled with bhakti, one gets the results. It is Lord who awards swarga or apavarga for the practice of karma or jnana. Karma or jnana alone does not enable one to enter into swarga or enable one to enter into apavarga. Without bhakti, neither karma nor jnana nor yoga cannot award any results. So that has been stated in the 2nd canto of Bhagavatam. So in that sense, it is mentioned. When there is a difference in the worship of the Lord, there is also difference in the results. And when there is no worship of the Lord, there is no result. Ye etamam prapadyante tam stave bhajamaham. With whatever motive you worship the Lord, accordingly the result will come. Because Lord reciprocates. He is a conscious being, he can reciprocate accordingly. So with all these, with this verse, he is telling that the Lord does exist. That's how the scriptures talk about him. The great sages describe him. And our personal experience also gives an evidence of that. Karma alone is not the highest authority, and Devatas alone are not the final cause. It is the Lord and Bhakti are the final cause. So this has been mentioned in the many times in the 1st canto, 2nd canto, 3rd canto also. Execution of karma alone, jnana alone, yoga alone does not award one's expected results. When there is some bhakti within that, they can get the expected results. Without bhakti, it is not. So similarly, neither karma nor devatas cannot award the results completely. Only when there is intervention of the Supreme Lord, then the results will come. Otherwise, they will not come. So in that way. Hare Krishna, able to follow? This is a lengthy purport. I put some notes here, reading through all that. Any questions? Because this is one of the important concepts which comes throughout the Bhagavatam many times. Even later in the 11th canto also, what was that person name? Avadhuta Brahmana. He also talks about this. The devatas are not the cause. The grahas are not the cause. My karma is not the cause. Avanti Brahmana, yes.
Avanti
Only the
Brahmana.
mind,
Yes.
only the mind is the cause. So in that way. And finally said that by taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, I can overcome. Aham tarishyami duranta param tama mukundangri nishevayeva. Because it's only the Supreme Lord who can deliver my mind in that way. So any questions?
No, Prabhuji, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Maybe after reading the purport in detail, if we have any, we'll ask next time.
Yeah, you read the purport and you will get confused. Prabhupada talks about so many things. Quoting from Bhagavad Gita here and there, many things he talks about. Of course, it is very good purport. You need a lot, I mean, you'll read it when you are peace of mind. So in that way. So then we'll continue. So now he gives the proof. What is the proof of existence of the God? What is the proof that by practicing bhakti one attains highest destination, one does not take birth again? Some examples he quotes. And who are the authorities who can establish the existence of the God? So in that way. Manor uttana padasya dhruvasyapi mahipate priyavratasya rajarsher angasyasmat pitu pitu idrashanam atanyesham ajasya cha bhavasya cha praladasya baleschapi krityam asti gadabruta दुहित्रादीनृते मृत्यो सोचान धर्म विमोहितान वर्ग स्वर्गापवर्गानां प्राये नैकात्म्य हेतुना.
This is confirmed not only by the evidence of the Vedas, but also by the personal behavior of great personalities like Manu, Uttanipad, Dhruva, Priyavrata, and my grandfather Anga, as well as by many other great personalities and ordinary living entities exemplified by Maharaj Prahlad and Bali, all of whom are theists, believing in the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who carries a club. Although abominable persons like my father Vena, the grandson of death personified, are bewildered on the path of religion, all the great personalities like those mentioned agree that in this world the only bestower of the benedictions of religion, economic development, sense gratification, liberation, or elevation to the heavenly planets is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
He is establishing what he said in the previous verse by quoting different authorities. He says that this is also the conclusion of Swayambhuva Manu, one of his ancestors, Uttanapada, who is the son of Swayambhuva Manu, King Dhruva, who is the son of Uttanapada, and the saintly King Priyavrata, who is the elder brother of Uttanapada. My grandfather Anga, and many other great persons such as Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Prahlada, and Bali. Though Prahlada and Bali did not appear by then, still he quoted the names of Prahlada and Bali because he heard from Shastra. Shastra talks about them every now and then. Their names are there eternally for in the Shastra. But not those lamentable persons straying from Dharma like Vena. Vena's statement should not be taken as the final conclusions of the Vedas. Instead, the statements of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Prahlada, Bali Maharaj, Anga, Priyavrata, Dhruva, Uttanapada, and Manu should be accepted as the conclusions of the Vedas. Some of you might question me about Vena said like this. Vena's statement should not be accepted as the Vedic statements. He might say He has taken only one statement out of context and said, but that is not the highest conclusion of the Vedic standards. So what these people say, that is the highest standard. The achievements of dharma, artha, kama, and swarga and moksha, okay, are generally given by the independent Supreme Lord, Eka Atma Hetuna, the holder of club, Gadabhuta. The accomplishment of one's execution of dharma, artha, kama in the form of swarga and apavarga are generally given by the one independent Supreme Lord only. Because karma is insentient, the devatas are temporary. None of these two people can be taken as highest authority. Only the Supreme Lord is the highest authority, which has been established by all these great authorities. So Vena's statement are supposed to be neglected, and the statements of all these great sages, great personalities should be given more weightage. So in that way, he is trying to establish the existence of the God who gives the results of all one's activities. God's existence is also proved by the experience of the wise. Who are the wise people? Swayambhu Manu, my paternal grandfather, Pithu, Anga, and Swayambhu Manu and my paternal grandfather Anga and others got certain achievements by the Supreme Lord's mercy. Prahlada and Bali are not are included, though they appear after Prthu, since they are known from the scripture. Shastra talks about Prahlada and Bali, so he also included their name. Why specifically Prahlada Bali? Prahlada and Bali are born in the line of demons. Even though they are born in demons, still they established the authority of the Supreme Lord. So in that way it is taken. Somebody might question that, hey, सब आपका family वाला है, तो आप कुछ भी बोल सकते हो, जो भी वो बोल सकते हो. That's why he has given the example of Prahlad and Bali also. They are nothing to do with my family lineage. They are entirely from different lineage only. Even they also conclude. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, what was the 10th chapter? After Lord Krishna spoke the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, then Arjuna speaks. Param Brahma, Parandama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhu. Ahu Tvam Rushya Sarve, Devarshi Narada Sata. Asito Devalo Vyasa, Swayam Chaiva Bravishme. So Arjuna said that you are Parabrahma, Paramdama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, all these things. I am not saying all these things. These are all told by the personalities like Devarshi, Narada. No, one more person. Vyasa. Narada Muni and Vyasa. And somebody may say, Arjuna, you are taking the names of Vyasa and Narada. They every day they visit your home. You have special affinity for them. I mean, you and they are like close family members. Vyasdev is kind of your grandfather only, and Narada Muni frequently visits you. Hey, all you people, what you say is like the one thing only. We don't believe in that. Then he says that Asita and Devala also say this. In one sense, Asita and Devala are not the Vishnu worshippers. They are the devotees of Lord Shiva. They are in the Rudra Sampradaya. They are not in Brahma Sampradaya. They are from Rudra Sampradaya. Even they also establish the authenticity of Lord Krishna. Like that, Arjuna gives the proof from both the perspective. The Vaishnavas, such as Vyasa and Narada Muni, establishes Krishna's superiority, and Shaivas, Devala and Asita, also establish the superiority of Lord Krishna. Then there is no, what you can say, no chance of debating or contradiction. So in that way. Same way here, Prthu also took the names of Prahlad and Bali. So in that way. Gadabhuta indicates that, and he also took the name of Gadabhuta. He did not take Param Satyam. Why? Gadabhuta indicates the Lord holding a club, having a sweet, attractive form, not impersonal Brahman. Krityam, achievement, indicates constant service to the Lord's feet. So, in that way. Krutyam Adi Gadabruta. Praladasya baleschapi krityam asi Gadabruta. All these people always engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord also always engages in awarding the results of the performer of the activities. Both are actually performing activity. Krityam indicates is actually a person. The impersonal Brahman cannot perform activities. Only a person can perform activities. That's why Krutyam, and that's why it is Gadabruta. He is Gadabruta. So in that way. Others, however, are deplorable. The son of the daughter of death, Vena. So the Vena name is indicated as Duhitradin Rite Mrutyu. Dauhitradin Rite Mrutyu. The Vena is introduced as Dauhitra Adin Mrutyu. Duhitra means daughter. Dauhitra means son of a daughter of whom? Of Mrutyu. The son of the daughter of the Mrutyu is Vena. So the son of the daughter of the death, Vena, and other such people who strayed away from Dharma are lamentable. Implied here by Prthu is, let those who disagree with my opinion at this place be sent to the city of my maternal grandfather death. In order to indicate Anga, he used Pitu Pitu. In order to indicate his maternal grandfather, he used the word Duhitradin Rite Mrutyu. Those people who do not follow, who do not accept what I am saying, let they go to Vena and Vena's grandfather, Mrutyu. They will destined to go to Mrutyu because they are following the dictates of Vena, and Vena coming in the lineage of Mrutyu, and they will go to that place. So in that way, Yanti Deva Vrata Deva Pitrunyanti Pitrunvrata Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja Yanti Madhyajunopimam, something like that. So they are destined to go to the city of my maternal grandfather death, Narakaloka. The Lord is further described. He is Aikatmya. So Lord is glorified as Aikatmya. Aikatmya means the independent Swarupa. The Lord has Eka Atma. He has unique form. He has the independent form. He is the cause with his independent form of Dharma, Artha and Kama, Swarga and liberation. With his independently existing form, the Supreme Lord is the ultimate cause of offering the results of execution of Dharma, Artha, Kama in the form of Swarga and Apavarga. So, in that way. This is how in various ways Prthu is establishing the existence of the Supreme Lord. Thus, persons desiring these things should worship the Supreme Lord. The Lord is the cause of achievements for persons without and with desires. Akama sarvakamova mokshakamova udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajata purusham param. Whether somebody has no material desire, only spiritual desire to serve the Lord, and somebody has all material desire, sarvakama, or somebody has only the desire to enter into Brahman, still they should execute Tivra Bhakti. Then they will get the fulfillment of their desires. This is the statement of Shastra. The person desiring destruction of all desires, the person with all desires, even the person with the intense desire for liberation, if he has good intelligence, will worship the Supreme Lord with pure bhakti. So otherwise, their desires are not fulfilled. That is also a proof of existence of the God. So these are the various ways which Prthu is trying to establish the existence of the Supreme Lord. So there is one more proof which Lord Krishna himself mentions in the Uddhava Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, text number 20, chapter 20, text number 32 to 33. Yet karmabir yet tapasa jnana vairagya yaschayet yogena dana dharmena shreyobi ritere rapi. Sarva madbhakti yogena madbhakto labate anjasa. Swargapa vargam madhama katanchit yadivanchati. Everything that can be achieved by the execution of karma, tapasya, jnana, vairagya, ashtanga yoga, dhana, dharma, and all other auspicious activities of perfecting life is easily achieved by my devotee through performing bhakti alone. If somehow or other my devotee desires going to Swarga, attaining Sahajya Mukti, or residence in Vaikuntha, one easily achieves such benedictions. Here, attaining a residence in my Vaikuntha indicates Salokya or Sarishti, where seva opportunity is not there so much. Direct seva opportunity is not there. Even all these things can be given to my devotees, if at all they want any of these things. So, like that, it indicates that the Bhakti and Bhagavan only can award the fulfillment of all one's desires. Not neither karma, tapasya, jnana, vairagya, yoga, or dana, dharma, all these things cannot give all those results completely. So that's how he is establishing the existence of the Supreme Lord, because people are getting variety of destinations. So in that way, prayena generally here indicates that sometimes the pure form is mixed with karma or jnana. Thus, by bhakti mixed with karma and jnana, the different variety of results appear. Even though one is practicing bhakti, but if they have some karma, they may get salokya mukti. If some have jnana, they may get sahajya mukti. However, the results of Trivarga, the Dharmartha Kama, and Swarga or liberation do not come from karma or jnana, but by bhakti alone. This is the meaning. Whatever result one may want to get in this material world, they come by the execution of bhakti, not just by execution of karma or jnana or yoga or dana, dharma, etc. Thus, not only the Lord, but the bhakti include is for in his Swarupa is also proved. The existence of Bhagavan is proved. The existence of bhakti is also was proved in these couple of verses. So that's how Prthu Maharaj is trying to, having stated that I request all of you to practice bhakti so that I will go back to God and does not come back again. And this is not only I'm saying, the great sages have said, though Vena said something and the people following Vena, they made something, they will be destined to go to Vena's grandfather. But all these great souls are telling about this. If we follow in their footsteps, we are destined to go to abode of the Supreme Lord. The proof is Shastra. Akama, Sarvakama, Mokshakama, Udardi, and Karnabhira Tapasa. These are some of the examples of that proof. So, with having stating that, he further continues what to do and how to do, etc. from 31st verse onwards. So, which we will discuss in the next class. So, we will stop here. So, before closing, any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji, thank you.
So whatever has been mentioned in the couple of last three verses, briefly, like very intense purports and all, will be elaborated in the future verses. What has been explained is now gradually described in detail. The success achieved by those performing pure bhakti to the Lord is not achieved by those practicing austerities. What to speak of person practicing karma? This is explained in the two verses, and then future verses talk about why bhakti is important. What is the position of bhakti vis-a-vis karma, jnana, yoga, tapasya, vairagya, dana, dharma, etc. So all those things will be presented in the future verses. So that we will discuss next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank